Hello, and welcome to my presentation of how mercury is the toxic chemical that has been killing our marine life and humans. I am your host, Tanya Cochran, and we will be highlighting the effects of mercury toxins and how they are destroying our ecosystem. This is a diagram of the mercury chemical structure. As this toxin enters our ecosystem through man-made ways and natural ways, as it is produced in our soil and rain washes it into the waterways as well. The sahyryl group, this group is found in proteins and is essential for their function. When mercury binds to this group, it can disrupt protein functions. The nitrogen atom, mercury's ability to form complexes with other elements, may be due to its strong electron affinity for nitrogen and its strong bond to the nitrogen atom. Mercury can also cause damage to cellular proteins and DNA by bonding these to these molecules. The chlorine atom, mercury's ability to form complexes with other elements, may be due to its strong electron affinity for the chlorine atom. Mercury can cause damage to cellular proteins and DNA by binding to these molecules. The oxygen atom, mercury's ability to form complexes with other elements, may be due to its strong electron affinity for the oxygen atom. Mercury can cause damage to cellular proteins and DNA by binding to these molecules. The metal cation. Mercury's ability to form complexes with other elements may be due to its ability to form complexes with other metal cations. Elements mercury may cause damage to complexes with cellular metals and other protein cations. Elements and mercury may cause DNA damage due to binding damage to these strong cellular molecules. Thermal power stations is one mercury source. Thermal power stations are a major source of mercury emissions to the atmosphere. Coal-fired powered stations are responsible for about 50% of global mercury emissions. The largest contribution comes from Asia, where coal-fired plants are the largest source of mercury emissions. Burning these plants releases mercury into the atmosphere, where it can easily reach Earth's surface. This process results in significant levels of mercury exposure for people living near thermal power stations. Mercury can accumulate in the environment and can be released into the atmosphere over time. This makes it a major contributor to global mercury pollution. Incineration of multiple solid waste can be a source of mercury toxin because it can release mercury into the air and soil. Mercury is a neurotoxin that can cause brain damage and is particularly harmful to young children and pregnant women. Incineration of multiple solid waste can release other hazardous pollutants, including lead, arsenic, and which can also be neurotoxic. Therefore, the incineration of multiple solid waste is a source of multiple pollutants that can harm human health. Mercury enters waterways through a process called methylation. Methylation is when mercury combines with other elements to form methylmercury. Aquatic organisms such as fish and water fleas take up this methylmercury. These aquatic organisms then spread the methylmercury to other waterway areas. Mercury can also enter waterways through industrial activities such as mining and manufacturing. Mercury can also enter waterways through the natural breakdown of materials that contain mercury, such as coal and oil. Mercury can be released into waterways from land, water, and air. It can also be released from burning coal and oil. Mercury can contaminate water supplies, soil, and food. Mercury enters cells through various mechanisms, including transport across cell membrane, uptake by endocytosis, and binding to methylation. MT plays an important part in the uptake and distribution of metals in the body, including mercury. Mercury can also cross the cell membrane by using oxidized to form a muriatic oxide, which then enters cells through pores in the cell membrane. Once inside the cells, mercury can interact with biological molecules such as DNA and proteins to create toxic effects. Mercury is a potent neurotoxin that can cause damage to the central nervous system as well as other organs in our body. As far as the diagram, the mercury can enter the cell through pores, but not exit the cell, causing destruction of the cell. As you can see from the scale of exposure, how it affects our cells from either breathing it in or eating fish that are contaminated with the mercury, high exposure leads to cell death in humans and marine life. Mercury negatively affects the methylation process. Methylation is when a methyl group is added to a compound. This process is important for many biological functions, including regulating gene expression. Mercury can interact with the methylation process and cause damage to these cells. This can lead to a variety of health problems, including cancer. As you can tell by the diagram of the human body versus the short-term exposure to the long-term exposure and what it affects and how differently it will affect us. I hope you have enjoyed my presentation and how all the large companies and other factors are affecting our ecosystem. Thank you.